Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofrumento, and you always know that I'm excited for these interviews, but particularly today, I've got an incredible guest on. I've got nothing but good words to say about this guy. You are in for a real treat. His name is Brandon Garcia. He is the owner of BKXX Enterprises. He's got a very interesting backstory. He grew up in the projects in Martins Ferry, Ohio. He earned a biochemistry degree from Kent State University. He might be the first biochemist to come on the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur show, but you're going to hear he's transitioned his skill set to a really awesome entrepreneurial story where he helps real life businesses. You're going to get a taste of that here today. But on my own personal level, I've also seen how helpful Brandon is to business owners and entrepreneurs all over the world because he actually personally reached out to me and was like, hey, Brian, just in case you're not aware, this page on your website is not working and it's an upsell page, so it's probably important. So Brandon is a wealth of knowledge. He's super helpful. I'm so excited to not only share his story with you today, but also his expertise. One thing that I love about Brandon is that he helps home service businesses fix their digital foundation, which as a marketer myself, I love that mission. I know a lot of companies need help there. And he says that he helps potential customers to find and get sold on the company before they even pick up the phone to call. So if you're struggling with getting people to know you and want to buy from you, then you're in for a treat with my interview with Brandon Garcia. All right, Brandon, officially welcome to the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast.
Brian, I appreciate you having me on here. Absolutely looking forward to this. I've been anticipating this all week. After your guys reached out to me, I was like, "Hey, what is this deal?" And I looked into you, man. Super excited that you did reach out, and I'm looking forward to this interview.
Heck yeah, I'm so excited. You heard my intro. Honestly, I love what you're up to as a marketer and also how passionate you are about helping small businesses. But I want to start first with the man behind the business, Brandon. When people ask, who the heck is Brandon Garcia? What's your answer there? I know you've got an interesting backstory.
I mean, I like to say I'm just the average guy, just trying to help the world as much as possible. I grew up pretty humble beginnings in the projects in Martins Ferry, Ohio, very very small steel town, dead steel town in Ohio. Managed to make my way out of there. Got a biochemistry degree in Kent State University. I know that's kind of crazy. Managed to get out of there in 4 years with the aspects of actually just doing research. Got the typical job right after college, like you're supposed to do, working third shift at a manufacturing plant, and a lot happens in the wee early in the mornings. There's not much TV on, so all you're doing is watching infomercials. And I caught one that was talking about the time and money and what you should be doing with your life, and that was kind of the key thing that I guess sparked it. Going down the rabbit hole of wanting to get into sales. Tried to sell at the company I was working for. They told me no, I had no experience, which was a little disheartening. So I ended up moving to Florida and sold cars for a couple years. And then worked my way through the insurance deal and made my way back to Ohio, and where I've realized that, the pandemic and everything like that happening, I got to figure something out and not work for somebody. So I was like, better put on my hat, figure out how to help people around me to just better themselves and better the community that I'm in.
Yeah, I love that overview. And there's so much of it that I want to dive deeper into because the first thing that comes to mind is you jumped into sales. That's such a scary aspect of the entrepreneurial journey. What sort of sales experience, if any, did you have? And then what did that sales experience teach you? And how did it come in handy as an entrepreneur?
Well, I had absolutely 0 skills, coming into walking onto the car lot. Luckily, I picked the right car lot to walk onto. It was a very high volume, Ford dealership in Tampa, Florida. So it was almost like shooting fish in a barrel, you know, but it really let me hone my chops there a little bit to learn how to just speak with people, understand their needs, and put them in the right product for them. It was later enhanced when I got into the insurance world, to where I was selling cancer insurance door to door when I moved back to Ohio and lost my job. So that really put the chops on to belly up to somebody and walk them through an insurance policy and close those deals.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pandemic, and obviously the pandemic in so many ways was just a catalyst for so many different people to make changes in their lives. And I always love hearing about people's transitions from working employee to full-time entrepreneur. I want to hear about that time period for you.
Yeah, so right about that time, this was 2019. Ended up, moving back to Ohio. Transitioned out of one position and was like looking for work. But I had my insurance license, so I knew I could sell. So it was at 2019 going into 2020, where I'm going door to door selling cancer insurance. Hearing these news stories out of China and things like that, and just something just didn't feel right. So I ended up stopping the door to door sales and jumped back into to selling cars again. And so for 2 years during the pandemic, I sold the cars. But if you know anything about the automotive industry during that time, supply chain issues, traffic was low, inventory was low, and so I was struggling on figuring out how to get traffic to myself, being one the new guy with no book of business. Um, and it was going down those rabbit holes that led me to ClickFunnels and Traffic Seekers and Russell Brunson and those books I was reading and diving into. I was like, I've done all this stuff before, even at the dealership down in Tampa. It's like, why don't I just do this for businesses in the area? Because I have a home. I'm looking for companies to help fix up things in my homes, and there's a lot of companies around here, but there's nothing there that is enticing enough for me to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, can you do this? Um, they just don't have that presence that I was used to in a more um, digitally forward areas such as Florida.
Yeah. So walk me through because I also grew up, my first marketing agency, I lived in a suburb of Boston, Massachusetts, and it was kind of the same sort of situation where it just felt behind the times with so many resources and technology available to small businesses. They didn't know. And how should they know? They're plumbers, they're lawyers, they don't know how to do the marketing side of it. So I want to hear about your first client. Take us back to that story.
Yeah. So that first client of mine was actually a startup. It was an automotive repair shop, little two bay deal. Uh, Gentleman found me on Google, looked at my business profile, checked out my website, loved the presence that I had on there, the information that I was already giving out. And he gave me a call. He was like, "Hey, I'm looking to start up this auto repair shop, and I'd like you to help me get it launched and set up online." I was like, "No problem." So, went through the basic deal of the program, what we're going to do to build out the foundation, get the right messaging out there, and start attracting people in through kind of a direct response method there. So did just that, got him up and listed on Google within 2 weeks. Built out his simple sales funnel out of ClickFunnels, who I was affiliating and learning everything through, at least that side of it, online. Then we worked on a direct mail campaign, mailed out 8,000 postcards, let everybody know, hey, brand new shop. And people started coming in. So, we launched the direct mail in February, and then February to March, sorry, February to, yeah, sorry, February to March, we doubled the number of phone calls that were coming in, from January to February. And then in April, it was doubled again. But unfortunately, I will be honest to say they're no longer in business due to internal issues. But had they were able to fix that, they would be doing quite well, because they were getting a ton of leads in just from those three simple things that we did just to kick them off.
Yeah, one of the things I love about that story, Brandon, is that and this is one thing I really admire about the way that you do work is that as a marketer, you view yourself as any solution that's going to move that business forward. And one thing that I love that you just called out in that answer is you did direct mail with them. And I feel like in a world of digital marketing, we get so caught up in funnels and lead magnets and all these other things without remembering that every customer, every client, every company has different user bases. So I want to hear about how you put together those strategies and how you identify, hey, here's what I think is going to work, and let's execute on that as part of your marketing mix.
Yeah. So when it comes to marketing, it doesn't matter where it's at. It's one all about the message. The medium you use is totally up to you. But the key thing is to know where your customer is and hit them where they are. So basically, start fishing in the right pond. Um, the gentleman before had another business where he's doing lawn care. Before he switched to the automotive, he said he had a great experience doing postcards. It's like perfectly fine. And being a kind of a millennial, zennial, whatever you want to call me, from where I was born in the '80s, direct mail wasn't the cool thing to do, because be it digital. But I decided to take a crack at it, and give it a shot, and designed some great work for them, and mailed it out. But it really did come down to the messaging that was on the card.
Yeah, and when you talk about obviously it is fun for two of us millennials or whatever it is that we are to talk about direct mail as a solution. But when I hear one of the things that you do, which we're going to transition into talking about BKXX Enterprises, because I'm so excited about the work that you do with clients there, but you talk about helping them set up their digital foundation. What does a company's digital foundation look like to you?
So the company's digital foundation one is just being findable. Um, you know, the world is controlled by Google, Bing, and Yahoo when it comes to the top three major search engines here in the States. And not showing up when somebody is looking for a service they provide is pretty detrimental to your business. Most home service businesses are relying on third party lead aggregators such as Angie's or Thumbtack to get leads, but those leads are resold time and time again. There's no brand loyalty there. They when somebody comes to do a job from those services, they're not thinking about that company that's coming to do the job. They're thinking about Angie again. So you may never get another opportunity to work with them. So the digital foundation is quite simple. One, it's your business listing. It has to be accurate across over 70 different listing category or listing sites. It's kind of think of the digital yellow pages. Second would be a landing page or a website. Is it properly optimized to capture a lead and have the appropriate message on it? Third would be all your socials. Are they set up properly so that it's easy to be contacted? And then the fourth is, your paid advertising. So, where are you displaying your company information? Are you doing park benches? Are you doing digital display on websites, taking them over? Are you in the email box? So those are the core key components to your digital foundation that I go in and fix and make sure they're running optimally and are optimized.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you brought up websites, for example, because we've all seen local businesses' websites, whether we're looking for a pizza shop, whether we're looking for an electrician in the local markets. There's so many things that people get wrong on their websites. So I'd love to hear more from you about that aspect of the digital foundation. Talk to us about what does a successful website look like? You talked about lead generation as one aspect of a successful website. And what are some of the mistakes that you see small business owners consistently making when it comes to their website?
Yeah. So the biggest mistake that I see when it comes to websites is they do it themselves. Uh, you these businesses, they're great at what they do, roofing, plumbing, electrician, and things like that. But website development is probably not their forte. So nothing against them for bootstrapping their business, but it does come to a point where professional help is needed to make themselves look good and presentable online. I mean, an electrician probably wouldn't want a homeowner going to running their 220 lines throughout the house, and potentially electrocuting themselves, right? So it goes the same way with their website. Second, it's not set up in a way that actually attracts the customer. There's no market dominating position in the headline there. There isn't an easy way to uh, fill out a form, or there's pop-ups everywhere, or it's just not put together very well and easily navigable for a customer to find exactly what they're looking for and to know if this business is the right business to do business with.
Yeah, I want to pile onto that because I want to really pick at one of your expertise areas because you have had that tangible sales experience, and sales always start with leads. And as soon as anyone goes to your website at bkxxenterprises.com, they're going to see the main headline there is the no nonsense approach to getting more leads on autopilot. Talk to us about lead generation for different types of businesses because I know that some of those local businesses or any type of business really as within the entrepreneur to entrepreneur global audience might think to themselves, well, Brandon, why do I need leads? I just want to sell my stuff. Talk to about that natural life cycle of a sale.
So the natural life cycle of sales is one, you got to be searchable and findable. So once your prospect has the need for your service, they're going to go to Google, Bing, Yahoo, or whatever, and look up a roofer or plumber or electrician near them. Second thing they're going to end up scrolling through is the local map pack that may show up. Um, and they're going to look at reviews, and they're going to look at ratings, and they're going to, potentially call directly from there, or they may get curious and go to the website. And that first initial experience when they go to that website is going to be kind of the make or break point to doing business. It hasn't been updated recently. Are they showing, um, any information on the exact service that they do provide? So instead of, the client wasting the time calling only to know that they're not the right fit, it's just not a good experience for that. Secondly, when they do hit the website, is there a compelling offer that is listed on the website? Do they have any type of pop-ups to say, hey, if you put your email address in here now, we'll give you a 10% coupon on the next service, or free home inspection, or something of that nature, where they're giving value first before they're even asking for anything in return from the client. So those little things, if executed properly, will end up driving so much traffic and leads your way that you wouldn't know what to do with it.
And I want to point out for you listeners, there's quite a bit of brilliance in the marketing answer that Brandon just gave you, where he talks about having an offer on your website. The offer that he's referring to, you heard him say, getting 10% off your order. That doesn't necessarily mean your offer is your actual paid product or service. The offer is the thing that you're selling for why they should get in touch with you. So even if that offer is quote unquote quote free or a coupon, it's a reason for them to engage with you. So Brandon, I'd love for you to go a bit deeper into that, because I already said in the intro to this episode, one of the things I love about you is your view that you can and should try to sell to these prospects before they even pick up the phone. What does that look like? What are some of the psychological or marketing or sales triggers and tools that we can use in our presentation and in our messaging to get these people to be sold and trust us before they even talk to us?
Absolutely. Video is the number one sales tool on the internet today. You're watching this interview via video. You're getting tons of value and information out of it. For one, second is going to be your written content. Your blog posts, your social media posts, and things like that. Those are going to be your best salesmen that you could ever hire, because the written word and the videos that you can put on your website are going to do all the pre-selling for you. They're going to get to know and understand your company and the services that you offer. And when they pick up the phone, it's like, all right, they've already given me so much value. They've already helped me out to where I can DIY it and get by for a little bit. And now I need the expert to come in and fix everything up.
Yeah, and obviously on this side of the table, we're really only talking about one half of the outbound marketing reach that we could be talking about, because you've already mentioned paid advertising. I'd love to
Mhm.
hear your perspective as an expert in this, because you are really, in my eyes, one of the things I love about the way you do business is a full stack marketer, from fixing a website, from doing the SEO, from doing the local search listings, to the paid ad side of the world. Where does paid advertising fit into this mix, and how do businesses know when they're ready to actually dive into paid ads?
Yeah. So my theory for paid advertising is kind of a sandwich approach. SEO and content marketing does take time to get off the ground. So an initial paid type advertising campaign, either via direct mail or a display ad to get everything rolling, is good. But I personally wouldn't run any paid ads until everything was set up properly. You actually had something to drive clients to, because when you're starting to actually pay for traffic, you're um, you're taking gasoline and throwing it on a fire, and sometimes that fire just isn't ready, and it can cause an explosion, right? And then you just would not be ready to handle what the aftermath is going to be for that. So, um, it's a very delicate, I guess, process, so to speak, on when to actually start running the ads. But I wouldn't run it until everything is set up, and that if somebody was going down the rabbit hole, they see your ad first. You want to have that content there, because it's only 1% of buyers out there are buy now buyers. The rest are scoping you out, checking you out, making sure that you are a legitimate company to do work with.
I love that answer because so many paid advertising specialists say you should always be spending money on paid advertising. But Brandon, what I hear from you is the truth of that. You want to make sure that when you're paying for advertising, it's going to come back with positive returns. And the way you do that is through that playground of your whole marketing mix. And you called it a process. And I love the fact that you have such a process around that. So I want to talk about something that I always hear entrepreneur to entrepreneur listeners ask about, which is there's so many different aspects of marketing. There's social media, there's local listings on Google and Yelp and all these other places. What is the process? What is step one when you work with clients?
So again, step one when I work with clients is I define who they're trying to target and provide services for. I mean, that's step one. If you don't know who you're going to be selling to, then anything you do after the fact is going to be a waste of time and money and effort. That's key. So we define the avatar first. Next, we analyze what the problems are and then craft offers around solving those problems. Because if you're not solving the problems, nobody is going to uh, buy buy the solution, right? So that's step two. And step three, we're then start crafting the messaging um, around the solution, offered so much content value that they have no other reason but to hire you for your service because you already provided them so much from the beginning. So as one of my mentors always says, give, give, give before you even take.
Yeah, I love that attitude towards marketing and obviously towards servicing clients. And that's actually what I really want to transition to talk about next, Brandon, which is what you're up to with BKXX Enterprises. Because as someone who has looked into your work pretty extensively, I really love how not only transparent you are with all the different services that you provide, but you really have built your service offerings with your clients' needs in mind. For example, on your website, I can see you've got Local Business Online Toolkit Pro, and it's very clear what services are involved in that, as well as the prices involved in that. Talk to us about how you've structured your services as a solutions provider for your clients.
Yeah. So my solutions are heavily SaaS based. That's software as a solution based. So it gives you a suite of applications needed to run and manage all of your digital assets, so to speak. So again, we start off by fixing the business listings and getting that distributed out to over 70 different sites there. Then we work on the website, and I have hosting included in the product portfolio there. Um, and then with that building it out, then we work on blogs and content. So I try to be as transparent as possible when it comes to like, hey, we're gonna be doing this at this particular time. It's gonna cost you this much to do it. Recently though, in my conversations that I've had with clients is that the biggest objection that I have heard time and time again is I'm not ready and I can't afford it. So I was thinking, well, there's another problem that I got to solve because no one's ever going to be ready. And anybody can afford anything if they really wanted to. So, started down a little bit different paths to do more of I guess, a business coaching or consulting side to where we work on the fundamentals a little bit and showing where to fix the processes in the business to then make the marketing actually work for them. So it's a little bit of a flip, but I think it's going to be a better way to service my clients.
Yeah, I dig that. And again, it just shows for you listeners listening to Brandon's answer here, you hear as a business owner, Brandon is thinking not only about what he wants to do, but he's thinking about what best serves his clients. And in that lies so many key answers from a strategic perspective, from a marketing perspective. You see how Brandon turns to the ideal customers, to the way that he operates his business. And Brandon, I do love the way that you're combining software with these services because, especially when you talk about listing on 70 different websites, I want you to talk to listeners and share with them how complicated is that? Because it sounds like a ton of work, but I know that you're leveraging software there. So, what sort of legwork is involved for business owners to make these things happen for their business's digital foundation?
There really isn't much work for the business owner at all, unless they really want to be in the weeds, being hands on, which I don't recommend because that's one of the things that I try to consult on is not working in your business, but more so working on your business. The software is very simple. it's pretty much done for you. I go in and make sure the business listing is set up properly, with your guidance, the description of the business, things like that is all run by you. I make sure all your hours are correct, phone numbers that you want to use are correct, etc. And then I just push a button and it goes. It does what it needs to do, and there's nothing that you need to do. You got to change an hour for your, on a particular day for your business, then we can change that and it updates everywhere. When it comes to website hosting, again, it's another done for you service to where, you just tell me what you want on the website and it's done and hosted, and there's no real technical backend that you need to do. I try to make it as easy as possible for the business owners to just run their business and not work in their business.
Yeah, I love that. And especially to me, and I knew that this was going to be the case when you and I had the chance to chat this week, is I knew that it would really be all things digital marketing because it's what you do, it's what you know, it's what you live and what you breathe and how you service your clients. And along those lines, one thing that I particularly love about the way you do business is that you offer business owners a free marketing analysis. Talk to us about what you do during those analyses and what that process is like with you.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite excuse me, lead magnets that I have, is that marketing analysis. And basically it's just kind of like a report card. Every report cards from grade school. It's A through F, takes a look at over five core aspects of your business from it looks at your business listings, it looks at your reputation, it looks at your social medias, it looks at your website, looks at your search engine optimization. And if you end up selling anything on your website, kits or anything like that, we'll look at the e-commerce side of it as well, and your paid advertising. And so it scrutinizes algorithmic fee. See, I can't even speak this afternoon. Um, and it grades you, and it does so in a very harsh way. So, like, even if you have, a southeast on your business listing in one area and it's not on another one, it will ding your listing and probably knock it down a grade just because it isn't synced. So I do. I just go over that and say we need to fix these 7 things starting off, and then grow it from there.
Yeah, I love that. And it sounds like it's something that would benefit so many different types of businesses as well. So, for all of you who are listening to this thinking, gosh, can Brandon only help me if I am one of those local home repair service businesses, for example? The answer is no. I mean, a lot of this stuff that Brandon talks about applies to people. Marketing is fundamental. And so it applies to so many different industries. Brandon, you're a wealth of knowledge. I'm sure we could talk extensively about all things marketing, but I do want to first, before I open the floor for you to tell listeners where the heck they can consume more of your content and take advantage of your free marketing analysis, I want to ask you the big broad question, which is where should business owners start when it comes to asking themselves, hey, how do I get more intentional about my marketing? What is your best advice for them there?
I would start with Google. That is the gateway to a majority of um, your customers going through to find you. I would dive as deep as I possibly can into Google, their algorithms, your Google business profile, and then build out from there. Google used to have this social media deal called Google Plus. They since got rid of that and turned it into Google Business Profile, and it's a wealth of knowledge and information that you can go in and learn um, anything and everything about marketing from one of the largest institutions that's out there. I know not a lot of people like Google, for all the data and all the stuff that they have, but it's trying to think of the word here. It's a necessary evil, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Like, they need you just as much as you need them, and so if you can build a symbiotic relationship with them, as well as the other search engines, you'll be well off.
Yeah, great advice there because let's face it, when any of us are looking for anything, we turn to Google. And as you dig into Brandon's work, go to his website, bkxxenterprises.com. You'll see how often he says, hey, if your customers can't find you, they'll never be able to work with you. So you want to make sure that you are findable. And on that note, Brandon, I want to open the floor up to you to tell listeners where the heck they can get more of your stuff, of your brilliance, and go deeper down your marketing rabbit hole.
Yeah, so you can find me on a plethora of different sites. BKXX marketing.agency is the main site there. If you're interested in learning more about do it yourself and building your business, you can go out to bkxxcoaching.com and sign up for my e-learning course there. First 30 days is 100% free. You can also find me on all the socials at BKXX Enterprises, that the Facebook, Twitter, and if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free to find me in/Brandon J. Garcia.
All right. And the good news is you guys do not have to remember all of those links. Just wherever it is that you're listening to this show, scroll right on down, whether it's iTunes or Spotify or here on YouTube. Scroll down, you'll find all the links to Brandon's different enterprises. And like he said, he has so many free things for you to take advantage of. So, Brandon, thank you so much for joining us on the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast.